Welcome to the Point podcast, a weekly Bible-based conversation about the things that matter most in everyday life. Join Pastor Andy and Kathy Addis for a kitchen table conversation as they talk about life, marriage, parenting, faith, culture, and more, all through a biblical lens. So pull up a chair, join the conversation, and let's get to the point.
Man, let's do it. Let's get to the point. How you doing, dear?
I'm good. How are you?
I am looking forward to getting to the point because it has been a technological feast.
Yeah, that's a
new equipment.
Very nice way of putting that.
Yeah, just trying to get some stuff done. And what you don't know is before this few minutes of this episode, we've had a couple hours, 3 hours of prep trying to get ready. But wasn't that a wonderful intro? We've never had a verbal, and that is...
Joy Addis.
That's right.
Our sweet Matana.
Our daughter-in-law that has given us wonderful Wilhelm. What a wonderful joy. And we are so thankful that we're able to do some fun stuff like this together. Yeah. And I think we're going to do something in April. We're going to get all the Addai together to just talk a little bit on the podcast.
I think that'd be fun.
But right now, we have finished up our first mini-series of the year, and we are moving to something new as Crosspoint as a church has been studying and is studying stewardship and generosity.
Right.
We're going to do family stewardship. We're gonna follow along and be in a different vein. We're going to talk about fellowship or stewardship rather of time, yes, resources, but relationships and opportunities, just all the different things that we need to have good stewardship over. And today we're going to start with the stewardship of time. Now, To the Point hasn't been a podcast for that long, and we've already covered time a couple of times because it is such a misused and overlooked valuable part of family and what needs to be there. You remember the old adage that they used to say, how do you spell love?
Time.
Yes, you remember it. That's it. And so for family, it means a lot. Now, let me tell you why it's a problem. Here's the spark to this conversation. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and these people understand time because they invented time clocks.
Right.
The average American adult, now this is the average, so you say, well, I'm not quite there. I'm worse than that. That's why it's an average, somewhere in between. The average adult spends over 2 hours a day on social media and more than 3 hours a day watching television. Okay, so let's put these pieces together. If you just did 2, it said more than 2, but 2. If you did 2 for social media and you did 3 for television, you got a total of
5 hours.
And we generally work for
8
hours, what you get paid for, but you got a lunch hour, and that's 9. So you got 9 plus 5, that's 14. They recommend that you sleep 8 hours a day. That's 22. That leaves out of your whole day, if you did everything like the stats are saying, you have 2 hours to do productive things. Now, are you mowing the lawn or are you spending time with your kids? Are you paying bills and running errands, or are you having meaningful conversations with your spouse? There's something going on in our culture with time that we need to redeem. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
And you and I, we've over the years had struggles back and forth. And let's just be sure, there's always seasons that it's going to be harder than it is in other seasons.
Yeah.
And you don't judge yourself or you make decisions based upon those hard seasons.
Right.
We're talking about the give and take of the everyday. There's a quote, and I read this to you earlier, and I just thought it was great. Time is what we want most, but what we use worst, by William Penn. It's what we want most, but we use it worse. So maybe being a steward, a good manager of time is worth doing. Amen?
I agree. Yeah.
We're going to talk about, when we get to the end here, one of the applications in our life is my mentor, Chuck Stecker. I had 2 or 3 guys that I always poured into my life. He taught me about day parts a long time ago, and we'll get to that. But before we get there, there's a scripture that I think speaks to this, and you may at first go, boy, that seems harsh. It's not harsh, it's a reality check. It's from James chapter 4. We're going to look at verses 13 through 15. So 3 simple verses. Would you read it for us out of the ESV, out of the NLT, and then I'll do the ESV here just a second.
Sure. James 4:13. Look here, you who say, today or tomorrow we're going to a certain town and we'll stay there a year. We will do business there and make a profit. How do you know what your life will be like tomorrow? Your life is like the morning fog. It is here a little while, then it's gone. What you ought to say is, if the Lord wants us to, we will live here and do this or do that.
I love it. Now, out of the ESV, it says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you don't know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that happens for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that." I like this because this isn't a passage that says, here's what you do with your time. It's just saying, your time is pretty valuable.
Right.
And to be honest with you, it's not as much under your control as you think.
Yeah.
And so what you can do, you probably should do.
Yeah.
That's where we are. So let's just look at it real quick in 3 different verses. Verse 12, it says, "Come now, you who say, today and tomorrow." And it's this grandiose planning. And all of us with a vision board and a life plan, and we're going to do this in 5-6 years. And I think you should do that. I think there's a good thing about, being prepared, being that ant instead of the sluggard.
Right.
That Proverbs talks about, that we should have plans. But we don't hold those too firmly because it's very clear here that verse 13 is saying we have a lot of plans. But again, another old adage, God heard your plans and he
laughed.
He laughed.
Yeah.
Because his perspective is different. He sees things. He knows what you don't know. He sees what you don't see. And that just means
he's already been there.
That's right. That's right. 100%. So verse 13 is this verse that is kind of an image of us. It's like, I got plans. Here's what we're going to do. This is what's going to be. And come hell or high water, this is how we're going to do that. But then God steps in verse 14. Yet, by the way, no one wants to grandiosely tell God what's going to happen. Then you hear a yet.
True.
A yeti. Yeah. You want to hear that coming in your backyard. Sorry. I just had a birthday, and I came into my office on Sunday, and because I'm double nickel, 55. I can't drive.
55.
Yes, we are meant to be married.
Yes.
But there was 55 versions, the 55 of these favorite lemonades that I have, 55 cans of carrots.
Sliced carrots.
Yes, because they're making fun of me because I eat sliced carrots for lunch a lot.
But you also eat sliced carrots, so
I do, and they took the labels off all of them. Which is not nice.
No.
But there were 55 little Bigfoots.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's funny to say, little Bigfoots all across. And they had a little sign on them. So that's why I was thinking Yetis today. Sorry. Anyway, happy birthday to me. There we go. So verse 13 is all about us and our grandiose plans and X, Y, and Z. But verse 14, yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. I mean, yeah, we do. We got a plan. We know what to expect. It happened that way yesterday and the day before that. You just don't know. Right. Matter of fact, it goes on to say something that I think you roll back to. I wonder if when James was writing this, he wasn't thinking about Ecclesiastes. Because
for everything there's a season.
Well, that and the protagonist in that, he plays different characters in the book of Ecclesiastes. We're going to get to that, by the way, when we go as we're rolling through the Old Testament. But he talks about your life being a vapor and a mist, and that's why everything is meaningless.
Yeah. Wow. I had forgotten that.
And so I wonder if James isn't thinking back to that because he says, yet you do know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. It's like I used to, when I took the boys to church on a Sunday morning and we drove over Cow Creek going to the old Westbrook campus, sometimes there would be that fog or that mist. And they were like, hey, I can't wait to go back over that after church. I'm like, it's gone.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same.
No, it was there in the morning and it's going to be gone that quick. Now, I hate to say that, but as a 55-year-old, I can tell you, it's going to be gone quick.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that, you tell me if this isn't true, I hate the fact that we have been told for years, the older you get, the faster time goes. And you're like, you're just not paying attention.
It doesn't feel like that when your babies are 2 and they have endless, boundless energy.
But our grandson was born last week.
I know.
And he's already 19
months.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
it's true. It's true. Believe it.
It's a mist. Yeah. It's a vapor. And it's something.
A fog.
But what does that mean? I mean, initially you're like, oh no, but we're told that so that we understand what about our lives?
That it's short and it's valuable. Yeah.
Yeah. That every second matters. All right. So that's verse 14. But then in verse 15, there's a resolution. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that.
Yeah.
And so you go from these are my plans to God saying you got no basis for those plans to then us going, how about we just trust you, Lord, and prioritize you, make you and your way and your will the plan for our days.
Yeah.
Now, that then needs to bleed into parenting. It needs to bleed into romance. Me and you, baby. It needs to bleed into your faith life and your work life. All of it. He's asking us to have perspective to say your time is valuable and your time is shorter than you think. So make the use of it by giving the Lord charge of all of it.
Yeah.
That's a fair place to say. Could you interpret those 3 verses in that way?
Yeah. That's what I would say.
That's good. So we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Enjoy the podcast. No,
Okay, bye.
So what this leads us to in understanding that you're a mist is that this is not about condemnation. It's about calibration. How do we then take our lives and calibrate them so that they are getting the most bang for the buck? We are getting out of them what we need to get out of them. And that's about adjustments, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
It's about adjustments. When I was in radio years ago, 99 KZ Country. Yeah, I worked for them way out in western Kansas. And KVGB AM FM in Great Bend, Kansas. I don't know why I'm doing the radio thing.
I don't know,
But when I was in radio, before digital, that's how long I was in it, we had towers. And, every hour, you may not recognize it, but if you listen to radio, they would say the name of the call letters and the sign, because that was also when you had to go calibrate and make sure that your signal wasn't going wonky all over everybody else's. So every hour I had to sign off on a log and calibrate that we were still broadcasting at the right frequency with the right power and in the right place. This is this verse. It's saying, Kathy, have you calibrated your days knowing what God knows about your life? Andy, are you calibrating your experiences knowing about all this? So there's a few things we need to remember in family life. First of all, time is borrowed. What does that mean to you? When I say if time is borrowed and you're thinking about your family, what does that mean?
That it comes and it goes pretty quickly, that we don't get to control how long we have with anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't get to add to it or take from it because it's just given to you whatever's been given to you.
Yeah.
How about this one? Planning requires humility. A lot of planning is bravado, right? This and that.
Yeah.
But if this is true, then planning requires humility. And why would that be? If all your time is borrowed.
Well, because ultimately he gets to decide what we do and what we don't do. When you were talking about this, I thought of, I wish I could remember where I heard this the first time, but it was a practice that I've tried to remember to do. It seems so simple, but it's actually not so much. The idea of, I wake up, I pray the armor, and then I try to end my prayer every morning with, Lord, order my day.
Yeah.
You prioritize the way you want it done, and then to actually mean that.
Wow. Yeah.
So
fantastic. So that is giving that back to the Lord and understanding, coming at it from that perspective. A third part: time's borrowed. Planning requires humility, and presence requires surrender. Meaning that being in His presence and being present in the moment is going to require surrender. We like to be in control, but this is really kind of more about submitting to Him. And we would do so much better in every arena of life if we would submit to Him, right?
Yeah.
So all of this leads me to a place, and I feel like I'm dominating the conversation. I apologize here.
Sorry. Okay.
We're out of James. In these 3 verses, we've done a little bit of scriptural work, but now what is really the point of all this? As a parent, as a spouse, as a member of a family, even extended family. We always think about those closest to us, but we're talking about brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles.
Grandma and grandpa.
Grandma and grandpa. Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot. Here's what you need to remember. You don't get years back.
Yeah.
Once they're gone, once they're spent, they're spent.
Yeah.
And you and I'm not trying to draw an emotive response out of you, but you've regretted over the years sometimes because we've been so busy and there's been distance on some parts of you were very connected to cousins and nieces and nephews and all that. And we've been at a distance. It's been hard to connect for all that. So you did activities over the summer. You like cousins camp and things like that because you recognize you don't get those years back.
Yeah. Yeah, when we lived in, I think the hardest time for me was when we lived in Fort Worth, and it was just because we were so far away from my family, and our boys were tiny, and I grew up with my cousins all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like we hung around each other.
You didn't
like,
have a
even
family
through high
tree.
school.
You had a family bush.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, and so being so far away made it was really hard for me to make that adjustment. We were where we were supposed to be, but it was just hard.
Yeah.
And as we've gotten older, though, my sisters and I, we all three recognize that we miss that, and we want our kids to have that kind of relationship, even though it wouldn't be the same as what we grew up with, but we wanted them to be familiar and comfortable with their cousins.
Our maturity led to a prioritization of things because you saw it slipping away.
Yeah.
And so this is really primarily a podcast for those who are younger than us so that you maybe can see it and get a hold of it before it gets away from you.
Yeah.
Because you just never get those years back. Now, let's be honest, technology, it doesn't replace that, but it has been helpful.
Oh, yeah.
It's made life a little easier to stay connected, and we got to thank God for FaceTime, right?
Yeah.
When I'm traveling around and we get on a 4-way FaceTime call so we can all dance and sing with Lil Wilhelm.
Right.
This is a blast.
Or he can carry us around as he's stealing mom's phone and runs off with it.
It's funny because I'll stay on the phone with him for 10 minutes and he's just, licking the phone and throwing
we're
it in the
looking
toy
up his
bin.
nose or whatever. Yeah.
So that's principle number one that would implore us to make good and valued use of that time, that you don't get those years back. Here's another thing. You don't get the versions of your kids back once they grow, right?
Yeah.
Now, moms and dads, grandmas, grandpas, don't wish them out of something.
Oh my goodness. That is so true. That is so true. The dishes will wait. They're only little for a little while. And my mom told me that when our boys were young, and I was like, oh, they're going to be this age forever, and we blinked, and now they're grown up and they're married and they have families of their own. And it's hard. It's really hard, but it's really worth put it down. Go play with your
There
go play
are
with your
more things
babies.
important than what you think is important today. That tyranny of the urgent. I remember coming back from classes in seminary in Texas and went to the parsonage, and you had called me and said, you need to get home. You just had a day, right?
Oh,
and so I came home, and you got 2 littles. I mean, Noah was barely toddling. Nathan's just still infantile, and I could just read it all over your face. And we had a great conversation. We prayed about it, but I remember we got to the end. This may not be an exact quote, but this is pretty close. You said, "I need you to tell me if you want me to have a clean house or healthy kids."
because I cannot do both.
You were basically like, "Listen, we're kind of at a decision point here with what's going on in this world. I can make sure when you come home that everything is great." But your kids are probably going to end up serial killers. Is what's going to happen.
Yeah, because
and what did we
was
choose?
not happening. Yeah, our house was a mess.
Well, and it wasn't terrible. It was
pretty bad.
It wasn't dirty. It was cluttered. It looked like there were 2 explosive little boys in the house.
Yeah.
But that was a decision that we made as to what was more important.
Yeah.
It was more important for me to know when I was gone that they were sitting on your lap and you were reading books and you were playing with the blocks, so that when I came home, it's not about let's vacuum, let's clean, let's do all this. But you actually thought it was a break because you're like, here are boys.
Yes.
Take these boys.
Yes. Oh, look, Daddy's home. Daddy's home. Daddy's home.
Yes. And
we all enjoyed it.
we did.
When
we
you got
did.
home.
And it just was the priority. That's just what it was.
Yeah. But that's not easy. I mean, that's so much easier said than done. Just because you feel the weight of all of it all at once, and to be able to say it's okay, because it is okay. That they're only little for a little while.
They're only toddlers for a while.
Yeah,
they're only grade schoolers. They're only 4th grade for 1 year. Well,
thank you,
some
Jesus.
of them maybe a couple, but that's okay. They're only teenagers once. They're only in college once. I mean, these are important things. So this passage, it's just causing us to ask these questions so that we value our time and that we don't waste it doing the menial, silly stuff. You don't get those years back. You don't get those versions of your kids back, and you don't get unlimited some days.
Yeah.
Someday we're going to do this. So I got something that I don't even think you know about. I use an organizational piece of software that just it's my brain dump. It's where I put everything, and I work projects through everything and so I have a file in there called Someday with the Family.
Oh, okay.
And several things in there we've done over the years, and then I check them off and do this. But there have been 2 things on that list that were just little day trips I thought would be good to take, something fun to do. And now that our boys are married and they got their own families, and it's you and I, we could do that. But I'm like, I wished we'd have not somedayed these.
Wow.
I wish we'd have just taken that trip and done that stupid thing.
Yeah.
And it's not a horrible regret, but it does remind me that even when you get a good rhythm, sometimes there's more to it than just saying, oh, I know how to do this. Sometimes you got to make some bigger sacrifices to get the smaller things done that will end up being the most magnificent choices that you've ever made.
Yeah. Yeah. Those some days, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's kind of a downer, isn't it there? Yeah. But that means, here's the positive side of that. When you say someday we're going to do that, the next time you say someday, may that be a hot burning coal on your head that says maybe today's that someday.
Maybe today.
Or maybe this weekend. Maybe we change something so that someday happens right away.
And I think that's something that as we've gotten older, we have understood to be more of a priority, just for you and I especially, that we understand. I mean, you're older than me.
Hey,
4
months.
4 months. And counting it down.
I'm not exactly a cradle robber here.
Yeah, that's true. 4 months to the day, actually. But we're realizing that we may not be able to do a lot of those things later, someday. And so we need to just do it now. If we can, we should.
Yeah. And they're silly, right? I actually pulled up the list here.
Oh, no.
Here's just a couple little things. You loved watching the Pioneer Woman cook, and we benefited from that many times.
True.
There's a place, the Pioneer Woman Mercantile. You said you wanted to go, and I thought that would be so cool just to take you down there with the boys, and we never did it.
Because the boys would have hated that.
Well, but that's part of being in a family.
That is true.
But then this one was so simple. The continental center of the United States is right here in Kansas. It's not that far from us. Let's just go stand on that.
Let's go be right do that.
And it's been on my list for literally years. Yeah. And there's simple things, and what memories those could have made. You know what I mean? So don't let your some days be never. Let your some days be soon days.
And they not end up as regrets instead of
absolutely
memories.
Because that's being a good steward of that time. Yeah. So here's basically our 2 cents. Our 2 cents are to take control of what you can, but understand you're not in control of time. Right? You're in control of your opportunities, but do something about that. Yeah. Now, I said we're going to give a little advice about day parts. Chuck Stecker, my mentor for years, and he always acts like I mentor him. That's his beauty. You know, he's super encouraging. But I don't think, last time I told him about this, I don't think he remembers it exactly like I do, but I remember it because of how it went down.
It made a mark on you.
Yeah, because I was having a rough day, and I mean like rough day, not enjoying the work at all. And he called me, and he's always got that sixth sense of like, hey, I don't think things are going well. I'm like, well, you're right, it's a bad day. So he said, tell me all about it, and I started telling him all about it. And he was giving me every affirmative male grunt that you can. Yeah, like if you've ever been a guy going, oh, you're not going to believe when they go, yeah, and man, I'm just laying it on thick, right? Because he's giving it all to me, like, oh, pastor, And I got done. I said, so what do you think? He goes, man, that sounds horrible. No wonder you're having a bad day. I go, well, got any advice? He goes, well, I can tell you what's going on. I said, tell me. He goes, you're kind of stupid. And that's the part he says he doesn't remember. But he's pretty clear. Yeah, well, he's pretty clear about that.
It could have been perceived, but the message was clear.
Well, he was a military guy. And so he goes, listen, I just listened to everything that you talked about. And it does sound hard. It doesn't sound like anything that the church is asking you to do. It sounds like you volunteered for all that stuff. Sounds like you put that weight on your own back. That these are all decisions you made. He goes, here's what you got to do. And he told me about when he was in charge of so many guys in Italy, right? Mm-hmm. He was that guy. And he said, I owned them. I could have worked them sun up to sundown. They belonged to me. He goes, but if I wanted what was best for them and I wanted what was best for the mission and the country, then I took 2/3 of their day and I made sure 1/3 belonged to them. He said, that's what you got to do. You got to give 1/3 of your day back to your commanding officer. And then he got quiet and he goes, and I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm like, oh, you mean Kathy? And he goes, yes, it's got to go back to your family. You're serving the Lord. That's what you do, even with your family. You need to make sure one day part, morning, afternoon, or evening. The church does not own you 24/7, 365. Morning, afternoon, or evening, you've got to make a decision as to which part you're going to give back to your family. And that's become a regular practice for us.
Yeah.
And early on when the boys were younger, it was Wednesday afternoons because we did Wednesday church. And I had to go in the morning to get ready, but we took the afternoons off. And the afternoons ended up being wonderful.
Yeah. And the boys were in elementary school still.
Yeah. And so they ended up loving that because we'd go to Sonic and then we would go play catch in the front yard, do any homework, go to church together, and then we'd leave and go home, usually go out to eat, take some of their friends. And it ended up being such a family day. And it was a simple decision of saying 1/3 of every day belongs to my family.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that was life-changing for us.
Now, sometimes your day started pretty early or they ended pretty late, depending on what was happening.
And it's never perfect. There were days that did not happen.
Yeah.
Right. And you just look and go, man, I'm sorry, babe. We've had an emergency. We've had a death. We've had a difficulty. And so what you don't do is go, well, that didn't work and never do it again.
Right.
But to quote the author of Atomic Habits, don't fail again. Don't fail twice. You fail once, just pick it up and do it right the next time. And so when it comes to time, when it comes to being a good steward of time, remember, we're not in control, but you have decisions to make with the opportunities that you have.
Yeah.
Make some decisions and lead your family well, but enjoy your family as well. Let's conclude with a question that I have for you. What to you was one of the bigger or the best times that we ever spent together? The four of us. So me, you, dog named Boo, Nathan and Noah. Just think back. It's not a deep question. So whatever comes to mind, I want that to be an example for us. When you think, what is one of the best times we ever had? What was it?
I think when we went on vacation to South Dakota.
Really?
Yeah.
The Mount Rushmore trip.
Yeah. When we pulled the trailer up there from the stress of pulling our camper through the Nebraska wind.
Oh gosh, yes.
And you were white knuckled and the boys and I were like, shh, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything.
I remember apologizing to the kids and saying, man, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. And Noah actually, in his wisdom as a preteen, went, he might have been 13 maybe? 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there.
Quite that old.
But he said, it's okay, Dad, we'd rather not die.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just, being there and spending, I think it was almost 2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks.
And it was really fun. And then
a lot of campfires, a lot of just hanging out.
Taking the most circuitous route home ever.
Yeah, that was miserable.
It was awful, but
we were together.
But we stopped at that little town so that Nathan could swim in the public pool.
That's right.
And he did that, and we ate lunch at this park, and it was not
a lot of money. It was just a lot of time, and it was together. It was good. That's what I was going for. Yeah. Because I think those are the moments that you remember, not the $1 million that you spent to go see the thing.
Yeah.
It's the cards you played around the campfire. It is the stories that you told at bedtime.
Isn't that when we saw the giant groundhog or something like that?
Oh, yeah, on the way back. We'd always seen the sign for the world's largest prairie dog,
yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah, and we saw the two-headed snake or something.
It was gross.
The boys were like, what is this place?
And the world's largest hand-dug well, something like that.
Or ball of twine or something. I can't remember.
That was Cocker City. That was different.
Okay.
But that was the place where they had all the rattlesnakes
yes.
in the cage. And literally, you leaned over this chicken wire and you saw a
yeah.
I thought we were all going to die.
Yeah. We were like, wow, this is a terrible
movie.
idea.
We're in a Quentin Tarantino scene and things are going to go sideways.
Boys thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Time.
But yes.
Time.
Yes.
That's
it was fun. And it was just about hanging out with each other and singing Weird Al Yankovic all the way home. And yeah.
It was good. It was good. Well, many blessings to y'all. We hope that this has been an encouragement. We're going to continue a journey for the next 3 weeks after this. Next week, we're talking about the stewardship of relationships, and that'll be a great thing to tackle. I want to thank you so much for being a part of this, and maybe you would think about liking this, sharing this, promoting this. We would love to be in more ears and more homes as we try and help lots of others get to the point.
Thanks for joining us on To The Point. If today's conversation encouraged you, head over to crosspointchurch.com/podcast to catch previous episodes and discover other podcasts you might enjoy. And don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, and join us next time as we keep the conversation going. To the point.